is the power of a simple light. For people living in complete darkness, the power of light is immense. 1.2 billion people around the world still do not have access to electricity, even today. 95% of these people live in rural locations, and 80% of them in sub-Saharan Africa and in developing Asia. I want to talk about the life of Maria. So Maria is a village school teacher. When I first met her, in 2004, she was trapped in bonded labor and was really looking for help to come out of that cycle. In 2008, we heard from our friends that she no longer was a bonded laborer, but a school teacher who had managed to start a little school for the people in the community. In 2014, when I met her in person again, she talked about how the community still lacked access to infrastructure. They had no access to electricity, no access to water, no access to sanitation. At this point, we had to change something for her. The problem got worse for her every year during the rainy season. During the flood season, she has left with no access to water, to electricity, again, because all the local resources are washed away. In 2014, she talked about how she had no access to electricity in those areas. We had to change it for Maria at this point. So we went into the communities and talked to her how we could truly help her. She was a truly amazing woman. She was able to bring village schools together, set up hospitals for the kids, and bring those community kids into education. Now she started working with the kids to be able to go to school and help rebuild their shelter. Maria is an incredible woman, and it is her journey that has inspired me to go this far. While Maria grew up in rural India, I grew up in the city of Bangalore. After I finished my education in Bangalore, I moved to Madras to do my electrical engineering at Indian Institute of Technology. After I finished a few years in India, I moved to the US to become a computer architect. While my professional career kept me truly inspired and motivated, I was always looking for a way to give back. I wanted to do something for the people in rural areas, not only in India, but for people in other parts of the world too. I started with a simple marathon to fundraise. Then I did a full marathon, an ultra marathon, and a 50-miler, all of it to fundraise for projects in India. There were two projects that I was really passionate about. One was helping bonded laborers to come out of the cycle of bonded labor, and second is setting up an organic farm for people in rural communities. The farmers cannot be expected to change into an organic farmer if he does not have the basic infrastructure. When we talked to the women, they constantly talked about how they were living in atrocious living conditions. They were paying off for the debt that their parents had borrowed. The women talked about how they had to go back into the communities, work in the rice mills 2 hours after they had delivered the babies, leading to a number of deaths in the community. They also talked about how every day they would get raped in the night. I grew up in urban city of Bangalore, and I myself faced issues with safety and have been in really vulnerable situations. If I, who grew up in urban India, faced this, imagine how much worse it would have been for Maria. At this point, I had to stop and ask myself a question. What can I do for Maria? What is the powerful tool that I can put into the hands of Maria so that she not only changes herself, but she's able to be the force of power for women in the community? I wanted to be part of the solution at this point. I wanted to start a social enterprise which provided two solutions. One, more opportunity for women in the community, and second is technology solutions which can improve the life of people in these communities. At this point, I decided to go to Babson College to do my MBA. While at Babson College, I was a part of an incubator called as the WIN Lab, which is the all-women's accelerator. And I met my co-founder, Sharon Khan. The all-women accelerator provided the right ecosystem for me to be able to take the problem that I had seen Maria facing and find solutions for other women like Maria who were ambitious and wanted to be the positive change in their community. I wanted to give them more opportunity, means, and guidance so that they can take that simple changes that they are doing in their community to larger impacts. At this point, I decided to give a clean solution which would handle all these issues. As an engineer, my solution was renewable energy. I took 5 big steps in this direction. First was safety of women in the community. We gave them simple solar lanterns to do this change that you see here. Once these solar lanterns were given to them, we called them 3 months later and asked them, what do you think is the effect of these lights in your community? And they were like, for 3 months, a man has not touched me. You've actually returned my dignity back to me. We knew that there was a change here that we could make for the rest of the women. Maria came back to us and said, I want to take this solution to 60 other women and 60 other villages. She wanted to do it for 60 villages, which means we had to train Maria. We had to teach her about human rights and solar power. Cultural barrier is one of the biggest obstacles that women face in poverty alleviation and in bringing electricity into their communities. We gave her activity-based soft skill training with the help of community leaders in that area, which helped her break down the constraints she was facing and take the solution to become a decision maker and a leader in her community. Now that these renewable energy lamps were given to them, it was not only bringing light into the global population, but also bringing solar power into the whole community and women power, creating positive impact. Once Maria had these tools, she said, let me act. So we gave her a small $150 fund to act on it. Providing money and funding is very critical to women entrepreneurs. These lamps that the community saw is not for personal use alone. They're also for creating businesses. These women went and sold solar lamp into the neighboring community and made some money out of it. Once the women started making money, they become decision makers in their home, particularly if they are earning a little more money than their husbands. Now we are talking about a level playing ground for women. Maria was very happy till December that year. The floods hit the community again. We had to find a long-term solution for Maria. So we sat down with the community leaders and came up with the concept of low-cost sustainable housing for these women. The community had a lot of talent within them. Once we brought the community leaders, some of the experts from the neighboring university, architects from India and Mexico together, they came up with a really clean solution to take care of their personal needs in the village. It was really beautiful to see these people come together and rebuild their whole village. After the homes were built, we brought expert electrical engineers like Sarala, who taught the other women about solar powering the homes. The solar power helped them provide lighting, air circulation, television, and cell phone charging. December in 2016, we got a call again at 5 in the morning and said, where the people told us that these were the only homes that had electricity in that neighborhood for 3 weeks when the national power had come down. We had really created a change, and these people felt like rock stars. Maria was not alone in this process. Maria had many people help her out. She had women from 6 different countries working on that project at the same time. She had help from community leaders like Sridharan. My family was able to support me in rebuilding this village. We had experts in the area in civil engineering, like Indian Institute of Technology, work with us, and women from 6 different countries which came down to work with us. It was a truly memorable experience to see these rural women work, empower themselves, and see a change. Educating and empowering women is truly critical for women's participation in leadership of climate change. It is not enough to sit down at a table and make decisions and hope that these changes will trickle down to the grassroots. I truly believe we must empower women like Maria to act, to become decision makers, not only in their homes, but also in the community and take action. And what we have started here is to build a global community of women working together to achieve that. We have here an opportunity to take the problem of energy poverty and convert it into an entrepreneurial opportunity for women across the world. For me, the journey started with Maria. Who is it going to be for all of you?